It's well known that in Germany, it's very difficult to get things approved. Many times Germans will give you the example that it took 19 years for an airport to be approved and built. 19 years. Tesla's factory didn't take 19 years, but it took a long time. There was lobbying. There was arguments backwards and forwards. There was all kinds of interest groups who wanted to slow things and delay them. Well, comparing that to what's just happened with Ford in the United States, wow, what an enormous difference between the two countries. Ford has just done something pretty exciting. They've officially broken ground on their new electric vehicle mega factory. Frankly, it's an exciting time to be around if you're part of the Ford electric division. If you're not, well, you're probably going to get fired. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. And it's an exciting time to be alive right now, especially if you work in the right industry where you could make a lot of money. However, at Ford, there's sort of two sides of the fence, right? Ford has just fired about 8,000 people who work in their internal combustion engine division. They also did fire some of their electric vehicle engineers, a couple of hundred of those, in fact, which is quite a shock to me and to a lot of people. I'll put a link in the description below to the video I made about that, about the fact they were given, I think it was about 4 hours notice to pack up and leave. I thought that was a bit harsh, but anyway, the good thing here is Ford will be hiring thousands of new people, new employees for this massive building that they're building. In fact, not just a building, series of buildings. To get around this series of buildings, you would need like an electric scooter or electric car or something. You wouldn't want to walk. It's a long way. So Ford has broken ground at Blue Oval City. It's a huge complex expected to produce batteries and a new electric truck, the new version of the F-150. Haven't heard of it because it doesn't exist yet. But Ford say that vehicle they'll be able to make a profit on. They'll be able to make that much more efficient. It's going to be quicker, lighter, a completely ground up built, purpose-built electric truck. That's the one you want, really. I mean, the current one's good, but the next one is going to be way better. That one's not going to come out, though, for a few years. And it will be the successor to the Ford F-150 Lightning. Now, the groundbreaking was held less than 1 year after Ford and SK On announced an investment of $5.6 billion in West Tennessee. Now, I believe the total being invested here is around $7.5 billion US dollars. So it's incredible the amount of money being invested in electric vehicle factories, electric vehicle production in the United States. It's possible the US is going to become a manufacturing powerhouse again. Hopefully they can bring that manufacturing back from places like Mexico and other places around the world where they build their vehicles, bring back to the US. Blue Oval City is expected to be Ford's largest and most advanced auto production complex in its 119-year history. Much like Tesla's new gigafactories, Blue Oval City will be producing batteries. And the batteries will be manufactured at the production complex used for future Ford and Lincoln vehicles. One thing that hasn't been mentioned here by a lot of people is that Jim Farley has given some hints about what changes will be made in this factory compared to Ford's other factories. It's going to be a big difference. Ford say that in Tesla's factories, they have a lot less employees per production line. Why? They use a lot more robots than Ford use, a lot more advanced robotics, so that they can cut down on staff numbers, reducing costs. That's what Ford plan to do here. They plan on automating as much of their production line as possible so that they can hire less staff. That's the future of the automotive industry. And that's something that Herbert Diess talked about at Volkswagen as well. He said it's one of the big advantages that Tesla have, their production automation. As noted by Ford in a press release, Blue Oval City will span nearly 6 square miles. It's enormous. It's also expected to create around 6,000 new jobs when production starts in 2025. So production's still a couple of years away. Ford appropriately dubs itself as America's #2 electric vehicle brand, and it expects the new complex to help the company get closer to its target of reaching 2 million vehicles in terms of EV production by late 2026. But that's a run rate. So they're not going to build 2 million cars in 2026, not even close to it. In fact, they're hoping that therefore, if they can hit a run rate of 2 million per year by the end of 2026, then they'll be able to actually build and sell 2 million EVs in 2027. But, I mean, this is still run rate. General Motors and Ford now, they've gone back to using the word run rate, because if you say run rate, then that means even if you don't hit those production numbers, then it doesn't matter, because you said run rate, right? It's not about production, it's about your run rate. So you could hit that production for 1 month, right? You could say we're at 2 million production, so therefore per month we need to hit, say, 167,000 vehicles. So if Ford hits 167,000 vehicles of production in just a single month, they can say, look, see, we did it. They don't actually have to deliver 2 million vehicles for the year, because they're saying it's run rate of 2 million. So be very careful if you're an investor that you actually qualify what Ford and General Motors are really saying. It's an interesting way of putting it, and it makes them kind of immune from being sued for saying, we said we we're going to do this, and then investors say, you said you're going to do this, you didn't, we invested, and look. So they say, no, we have hit a run rate. We just didn't produce that many cars this month because of XYZ or whatever. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee noted that Ford's production complex, according to Teslarati, will have a huge positive impact on the state. Ford's historic investment in West Tennessee is a testament to our state's strong business climate and unmatched workforce. Blue Oval City will have a transformational impact on Tennesseans and our economy. We're proud this global company will call Haywood County home, said Lee. Work at this complex has progressed significantly in the past months. Since March, crews have moved over 4.6 million cubic yards of soil and dirt. Nearly 370,000 tons of stone have been laid, and more than 4,600 deep foundations have been installed. So, I mean, this is creating a lot of jobs as well. This is a lot of work and just economic production going on in this state. Ford's efforts to build Blue Oval City do make sense. I question them a lot. I've questioned them a few times on this channel. I'll tell you why in a second. But what makes sense is considering the wider claim that the company's new EVs, such as the Ford F-150 Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E, have received so far. They're, well, obviously enormously popular in the US. The demand is clearly there, in particular for electric pickup trucks. You know, they had to pause actual pre-orders for them because they had so many, and they were just like, this is insane. We've got 200,000 pre-orders for this car. We're not going to be able to deliver these 200,000 vehicles for a long time. Let's pause them. They've actually started pre-orders again with the price increased by about $8,000 per car. Prices are still really good though. But the other reason it makes sense to build the vehicles here and the batteries here is the incentives from the Biden government. I mean, there's a lot of money Ford are going to get as part of those incentives for producing batteries and cars and parts, everything in the US, which is good to see. Good to see that, you know, Ford does pretend a little bit that their vehicles are made in the US, but, you know, we all know that a lot of them are made in Mexico and other places. So there's that. That's a good thing. Now, the big issue that I have with this complex, it's a bit like the way BYD does things. It's not that efficient. I'm going to get my head bitten off for that from a lot of the BYD fans on this channel. I'm sure you're going to say, but look at BYD's complexes. There's like 20 buildings. They're just buildings everywhere. And to get from one building to another, you got to go, well, what building is it? A, B, C. Oh, no, it's building Z. Then you got to get there. It's just like, I don't think it's that efficient. I question the efficiency of it. I've tried to understand it. I've looked at it from an engineering perspective. I looked at it from a production perspective. I've tried to work out what's going on with all the different factories, why they need to have it all so many different buildings. And I really can't work out why they need so many buildings and why they think it's more efficient to have this number of buildings. Because you just got to build so many more walls, right? So many more walls. And ultimately, it just seems like they're adding complexity. And that's what I think is happening here at this Ford University, they're calling it. You know, apparently going to have a university there or something. It's this massive place where to get from one place to another, it takes so long. Now, obviously Tesla has the same problem, right? Texas factory is so massive to get from one end to the other. I mean, if you wanted to actually run it, it'd take you probably an hour, right? It's a long way. But it's one big building. And I think the efficiency is a lot higher in terms of the space efficiency. The cost to make one factory versus producing like this looks like it's going to be about 10 or more. I'm just not convinced. I understand putting a battery factory in one place, a car manufacturing factory in another, and maybe one other in another, maybe a refinery or something. But I don't understand why there's so many buildings and why they're sprawled over such a massive space. Maybe someone here who actually has more understanding of this project can let us all know in the comment section below. I'll pin your comment if you fully understand the logic behind having all these buildings and they're spread out over a large space. It just seems more like someone thought this will be cool, this will look cool. We'll have this building here, and miles over here we'll have that building. We'll have some nice streets in between. We'll put some nice trees in, and people can go for nice walks. That's all good. But it just seems to me as though people will probably have to go from one factory to another frequently. If that's taking them 20 minutes, half an hour, they're just wasting a lot of time. But that said, it's still really exciting to see this happening. It's exciting to see the progress. I remember first reporting about what Ford said was going to happen about a year ago, and they've made it happen really quickly. It shows you in Tennessee, right? The government there, regulations, compare it to Germany, right? Wow, what a difference. I mean, they got these approvals in place to start production, to actually get these foundations in so incredibly quickly. That, in my opinion, is progress. That, in my opinion, is not letting politics get in the way of progress. Got to say, a big well done to the state of Tennessee. I mean, hey, this is a perfect example of how things should be, how things shouldn't be held up by, lobbying and companies and businesses using their own vested interest to try and stop progress. So well done to them for that. I'm excited to see this happen. I'm excited to see Ford actually produce 2 million EVs per year. I think they can do it in 2027. I think it's possible. And that is, that's still going to give them 4.5 years to get there. Do I think they'll do it? Likely 50-50. 50-50 chance. 2028, probably more likely. But that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.